Welcome to Zoe Crossdressing. I never imagined that a single moment in the middle of an ordinary day could unravel everything I believed about myself. Yet there I stood, motionless, staring at the fragile lace set my mother held out as if it were nothing more than folded socks. I had always faded into the background of my own life. Quiet. Withdrawn. At 19, my world existed mostly behind closed doors, late nights gaming, scrolling endlessly, burying myself in coursework to avoid people altogether. Attention drained me. Being noticed felt dangerous. My mother, Laura, noticed everything. She thrived on control, though she rarely raised her voice. Her authority was calm, deliberate, and unsettlingly persuasive. That afternoon, I'd gone upstairs to grab a book. She was already in my room, folding laundry, humming softly like she belonged there more than I did. I was halfway to leaving when she spoke. "You should learn what it means to be delicate." I paused, confused. What does that mean? Instead of answering, she reached into the neat pile of clothes and lifted something that didn't belong there, a pastel lace bra paired with matching panties and sheer stockings. Feminine. Soft. Intentionally fragile. "I want you to try this on," she said lightly. "Just once. For me." The air vanished from my lungs. "Mom, no. I can't." She didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice. She simply smiled. "Don't overthink it," she said. "Trust me." There was something in her tone, gentle, confident, inescapable. My hands shook as I accepted the fabric. It felt unreal, like I'd stepped into someone else's life. Every instinct screamed to refuse, yet my body refused to move. I locked myself in the bathroom, heart hammering so hard it felt painful. The mirror showed a pale, anxious boy who looked like he was about to bolt, but curiosity flickered beneath the fear. Piece by piece, I dressed. The bra fit tighter than expected, unfamiliar and constricting. The panties felt impossibly soft, clinging in ways that made my stomach twist. The stockings slid up my legs, drawing attention to lines and curves I'd never thought about before. I barely recognized myself. The reflection felt wrong, and yet disturbingly fascinating. My cheeks burned as confusion and shame tangled with something else I didn't have a name for. I couldn't look away for long, but I couldn't stop either. "Come out," her voice called gently through the door. "I can't," I whispered. "Yes, you can," she replied calmly. "It's fine. I want to see." With slow, careful steps, I opened the door. Each movement felt exposed, every rustle of fabric echoing in my ears. Her gaze swept over me, not shocked, not angry, evaluating. A smile curved her lips. "Interesting," she murmured. "You look prettier than I expected." The words struck harder than any shout could have. Heat spread through my chest, my legs trembling as my heart raced out of control. I wanted to disappear, to dissolve into the floor, but my body betrayed me, responding in ways I didn't understand and couldn't ignore. And in that moment, I knew something irreversible had begun. "Sit," she said quietly, gesturing toward the chair as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "I want to watch how you move." How she moves. Each step felt wrong and deliberate at the same time. The stockings brushed against my skin, the unfamiliar pressure of the bra reminding me of every breath I took. I hated how noticeable it felt, how exposed, yet there was an unsettling grace in my movements, as if my body were learning something before my mind could object. She didn't look away. "Now look," she instructed, nodding toward the mirror across the room. "Really look." I obeyed. The reflection unsettled me. I saw the outline of the boy I'd always been, but layered over him was something softer, more fragile, someone tentative yet undeniably present. The image refused to settle into one truth. It hovered between identities, leaving my thoughts spinning. I wanted to reject it. I wanted to lean into it. She watched without speaking, her silence heavy with authority. There was no cruelty in her expression, no anger, only certainty. Every tremor in my hands, every flush in my face felt observed, catalogued. I sank back into the chair, heart racing, confusion tightening my chest. Why does this feel like this? I murmured, barely audible. The answer came slowly, painfully. The embarrassment, the vulnerability, the strange pull of it all, none of it was harmless. It was reshaping me. The version of myself I'd known felt distant now, fading at the edges. This new reflection, delicate, unsure, unnamed, was stepping forward. I almost gave her a name in my head, but fear stopped me. She lowered herself beside me and gently moved a strand of hair from my face. Her touch was light, deliberate. "This isn't about punishment," she said softly. "It's about waking up. You've spent your life shrinking yourself, hiding where no one could see you, not even you." Her words wrapped around my thoughts, difficult to escape. I wanted to argue, to deny it, but something inside me recognized the truth. I had always been small. Invisible. And now I was being forced to confront something I didn't yet understand. "Tomorrow," she continued, her voice calm and assured, "we take another step. You'll learn how she exists in the world." My stomach tightened. Fear surged, tangled with shame, and beneath it all, a feeling I didn't want to admit. The fabric against my skin made every movement feel intentional, unavoidable. Change was already underway. As sunlight crept through my bedroom window the next morning, illuminating the delicate fabric still clinging to me, I understood one thing with unsettling clarity. Whatever this was, it wasn't over. It had only just begun. My heartbeat refused to slow, pounding with fear, anticipation, and a feeling I didn't yet have the courage to identify. The door opened quietly, and my mother stepped in with her usual composed confidence. In one hand, a small makeup case. In the other, a pair of heels. "Good morning," she said calmly, setting everything down. "Today, you begin learning who she is." I couldn't move. There was no cruelty in her voice, no raised tone, just certainty. My body responded before my thoughts could catch up. "Sit," she instructed, indicating the chair at the vanity. "Watch yourself while I help you." My hands shook as I lowered myself into the seat. The mirror felt like an accusation. The person staring back barely resembled the version of me I'd known for years. The boy I used to recognize seemed faded, almost erased. In his place was someone softer, more tentative, fragile, yet strangely compelling. Her hands moved with practiced care. She explained every step as she worked, foundation to smooth, blush to soften, shadow to define. Each motion was precise, intentional. "You need to recognize her," she murmured. "Every time you see her, you need to feel her." The words sank deep, repeating in my head. "You are beautiful. She is beautiful." With every brushstroke, it felt like something inside me was being shaped alongside my reflection, uneasy pride mixing with embarrassment in my chest. "Hold the mirror," she said. I did, unable to look away. "There," she continued. "That's her. That's you. Don't turn away." Emotion tightened my throat. This wasn't just a made-up face staring back at me anymore. It felt like an identity assembling itself piece by piece. She led me into the living room, the heels still in her hand. "Posture. Balance. Awareness," she said. "Every step matters now. You're done hiding." The heels wobbled beneath me the moment I stood. My legs trembled, my feet protested, and each movement felt like it was being watched, even though the room was empty. "Good," she said quietly. "Slow down. Feel each step." It was awkward. Exposing. And yet, there was something intoxicating about it. My body reacted despite my resistance, adjusting little by little. The part of me that had always held back fought to stay grounded, but something new, fragile and uncertain, began to move forward instead. "Look at yourself while you walk," she instructed. "Notice her. I did. My face burned, but the movements started to flow more naturally. Each careful shift of weight, each controlled step felt terrifyingly visible. Then she stopped me, guiding me toward a quiet corner. Your voice, she said. Soft. Steady. Let it rise. I tried. The sound that came out barely felt like mine, shaky, unfamiliar, embarrassing. Again. I repeated it, forcing gentleness into each word. With every attempt, something shifted. The name I'd barely dared think before began to feel heavier, more real. She wasn't just an idea anymore. She had a sound. A presence. My mother's eyes glimmered slightly. Every time you speak like her, she said, you move closer to being her. Heat rushed to my face. I couldn't tell what I was feeling, fear, shame, or something else entirely, but I couldn't deny the current running through me. Whatever was happening, it was no longer just an exercise. It was becoming real. Time for a test, Mom said, the hint of a smile tugging at her mouth. We're going to the corner shop. Just you, me, and her. My breath caught. Outside. Where people could see me. Panic tightened around my chest like a vice. It's fine, she said calmly, already reaching for her coat. You need to learn what it feels like to be visible. The door closed behind us, and the world suddenly felt too loud, too open. Every passing glance felt sharpened, every footstep amplified. My heart hammered as I struggled to keep steady in my heels, cheeks burning. Fear pulsed through me, but beneath it, something unexpected flickered. A strange energy. A thrill I didn't want to admit to. Mom stayed close, her hand briefly brushing my back as if guiding me forward. Her presence was grounding, authoritative, reassuring all at once. With every step, her quiet confidence pressed a single truth deeper into me. I wasn't hiding. I was being seen. Back home, my legs finally gave out and I sank onto the couch, shaking. The exposure lingered on my skin, heavy and overwhelming. Why am I like this? I whispered. She knelt beside me, smoothing a strand of hair away from my face. Because disappearing was never protecting you, she said gently. This part of you has always existed. You're just acknowledging it now. Tears spilled before I could stop them. I was terrified. I resented it. And yet, somewhere deep inside, I wanted more. The attention. The intensity. The feeling of being undeniable. Tomorrow, she said, standing again, we'll go further. More walking. More being out there. You'll see, it gets easier. I wanted to argue. To refuse. But I already knew I wouldn't. You thought this was just about clothes, she added quietly. You'll understand soon. This is the beginning. The fabric still clung to me as if it had claimed its place. My thoughts felt fragile, my sense of self unfamiliar but vividly awake. There was no undoing what had started. The bright lights of the mall hit me like a stage. Every step echoed across the polished floor, each sound magnified in my head. Mom's hand closed firmly around mine as we entered the crowd. My heels clicked nervously. Soft fabric hid what I wore beneath, but nothing could disguise my posture, my careful movements, the way I occupied space now. Breathe, she whispered. You belong here. People passed by, some indifferent, some curious. A few smiles. A few murmurs. Each glance sent heat rushing to my face. I wanted to vanish and stand taller at the same time. Walk naturally, she murmured. Let her move. I tried. Every step felt deliberate, my balance uncertain, my thoughts spiraling. Was I obvious? Was I failing? The space felt enormous and electric all at once. She guided me into a boutique and gestured toward the racks. Choose something, she said softly. Let her decide. Surrounded by mirrors and mannequins, my hands hovered over unfamiliar fabrics. My stomach twisted as I reached out, fingers trembling. This wasn't just a test anymore. It was becoming real. The sales associate greeted me with an easy smile, completely unaware of the chaos unfolding behind my eyes. "Can I help you find something, miss?" My throat tightened. No. I mean, yes, sorry, I'm fine, I blurted, my voice betraying me. A steady pressure against my back, Mom's hand. Solid. Anchoring. "Breathe," she murmured. "She's allowed to take up space." I reached for a pale pink dress, light as air, its fabric slipping through my fingers. Inside the fitting room, pulling it on felt surreal. The mirror showed someone unfamiliar yet unmistakably present, soft lines, flowing fabric, hair framing a face I barely recognized. "Look at her," Mom said quietly from outside. "Do you see her now?" My face burned, but warmth followed the embarrassment. For the first time, being seen that way didn't feel entirely wrong. Being called pretty, actually enjoying it, caught me off guard. When we stepped back into the mall, the space felt charged. People glanced over. Some lingered. Some smiled. Every step demanded effort. Posture, Mom reminded me. Confidence. She knows she belongs. My instincts screamed to disappear, but my body held its ground. Each look, each whisper, etched something deeper into me. I didn't understand it, but I felt it. "She fits here," Mom said softly. "So do you." Did I? The question spun through my thoughts, frightening and exhilarating all at once. By the time we reached the food court, my legs were trembling. I sank onto a bench, clutching the skirt in my hands. "I can't do this," I whispered, tears threatening. Mom crouched beside me, calm and unwavering. "You already are," she said. "Every step you've taken proves it." Her words steadied me. The person I'd been felt distant now, like a memory fading at the edges. This newer version felt sharper, more immediate. Then a voice cut through the noise. "Sam?" I froze. A familiar face stared back at me, eyes wide with surprise. Panic surged. My thoughts scrambled for denial, for escape, but Mom's hand pressed gently against my back. "Stay present," she whispered. The moment stretched, then softened. "You look incredible," the classmate said, genuine admiration in their voice. "I almost didn't recognize you." Heat rushed to my face, shame, confusion, and something dangerously close to pride. Mom's expression said everything without words. Later, sitting quietly, I noticed someone nearby glance my way, a shy smile, quickly looked away from. When our eyes met again, he smiled once more. "I like your dress," he said softly. My heart skipped. Part of me recoiled, overwhelmed. Another part leaned forward, curious. When I replied, the voice that emerged was gentler, steadier than I expected. "Thank you," I said quietly. From a distance, Mom watched, satisfied. Acceptance. Recognition. Connection. I felt all of it at once, and knew, without fully understanding how, that something inside me had shifted for good. She wasn't just an idea anymore. She felt real, present, breathing, impossible to ignore. Inside me, emotions collided in ways I couldn't untangle, embarrassment tangled with curiosity, fear with a strange sense of momentum. I wasn't simply a boy wearing unfamiliar clothes. Something else was taking shape, something named, something distinct. The trip ended, but my thoughts didn't slow. I had faced the outside world, eyes, voices, reactions, and none of it had shattered me. In fact, each moment had strengthened her presence. My mother's voice echoed in my mind later that evening. "Tomorrow, we go further," she had said calmly. "A full day. No hiding. You'll learn what it means to live as her." The instinct to flee surged instantly. But beneath it, quieter and far more unsettling, was a single word I didn't want to admit to myself. Yes. Morning light poured in sharply, making everything feel exposed. From the moment we stepped outside, the world felt too bright, too aware. I wasn't just moving through public spaces, I felt observed, measured, present in a way I never had before. "This is part of your life now," my mother said evenly as we prepared to leave. "You'll learn how to exist openly." My stomach twisted. Anxiety and anticipation fought for control. I was scared, deeply uncomfortable, and yet something inside me was alert, awake. She chose my outfit carefully, a soft-toned dress, simple flats, a light cardigan. "No heels today," she noted. "I want ease, not performance." Dressing took longer than it should have. My hands shook. Each piece of clothing reinforced a version of myself that felt unfamiliar yet undeniable. "Look," she said, gesturing to the mirror. "Don't turn away." The reflection held my attention. The person looking back appeared composed, gentle, real. My face burned as I registered a feeling I'd never associated with myself before, recognition. Outside, the city moved as it always did. Cars passed. Conversations floated by. Sunlight caught edges and shadows. My mother's hand rested lightly against my back as we walked. "Stand tall," she murmured. "Let her exist." Every step felt deliberate. I was acutely aware of my posture, my movement, the space I occupied. People passed by without stopping, some noticed, some didn't, but every glance felt amplified in my mind. And somewhere between fear and disbelief, I realized something unexpected. I wanted to be visible. We stopped at a small cafe. Warm light, quiet conversation, the clink of cups. "Order," my mother said simply. "Speak clearly." My voice wavered, but it held. A few people glanced over, nothing dramatic, just acknowledgement. The attention was subtle, but it landed heavily. "See," my mother said softly. "You belong in the world as you are." The feeling was overwhelming. I wanted to disappear and stand taller at the same time. From there, she led me to a salon. "A little refinement," she said. Completion. Sitting beneath bright lights while a stylist worked around me, I felt exposed in a new way. Hair adjusted. Small details refined. The stylist chatted easily, unaware of the storm inside my head. "You look lovely," she said warmly when she finished. My heart stuttered at the word. My mother met my eyes in the mirror, a knowing expression on her face. "Notice how easily the world responds," she said quietly. "This is what it means to be seen." I swallowed hard. Seen. Present. Real. And whether I was ready or not, I understood one undeniable truth. This wasn't temporary. This was becoming me. The strange mixture of attention and self-consciousness created something new inside me, unsettling, powerful, impossible to ignore. I didn't understand it, but I couldn't deny it either. Later, we wandered into a quiet park. Children ran past in bursts of laughter. Couples walked hand in hand. Conversations drifted through the air like background music. Mom guided me onto a winding path, her eyes never leaving me. "Pay attention," she murmured. "The looks. The smiles. She's visible now." It felt like an examination I hadn't studied for. A boy passed and smiled shyly. An older woman offered a kind nod. My chest tightened, my pulse racing. "Mom, why does this feel like this?" I asked under my breath. "Because she's real," she replied calmly. "The embarrassment, the excitement, the intensity, it belongs to her. And there's nothing wrong with that." The words settled deep, reshaping my thoughts. The version of myself I'd known for years felt distant, almost imaginary. This other presence, Anya, responded to every glance, every acknowledgement, growing steadier with each moment. By late afternoon, the stimulation caught up with me. My legs weakened, and I sank onto a bench, overwhelmed. I can't do this anymore, I whispered, tears blurring my vision. Mom crouched beside me, her voice firm but gentle. You already have, she said. Every moment today proves it. She's real. And so are you. Her hand smoothed my hair. I cried openly, exhausted, exposed, shaken by how deeply her guidance had taken hold. I recognized the pull of it, and how dangerous that pull could be. Tomorrow, she said quietly, we go further. More people. More visibility. You'll learn the full weight of being seen. Walking home, my thoughts spiraled. I had survived a full day under watchful eyes, felt humiliation, curiosity, fear, and something close to longing twist together. Her words echoed relentlessly. She's awake in you now. I didn't know if I was ready. Part of me wanted to vanish entirely. Another part, smaller, quieter, wanted to keep going, to see how far this path led. There was no easy way back. The next morning brought another announcement. Today, you meet people, Mom said matter-of-factly. Neighbors. Friends. Familiar faces. I want to see her confidence. My stomach dropped. Social situations had always terrified me. And now, dressed in soft fabric that made me feel delicate and exposed, that fear felt amplified. You look lovely, she said, handing me a small clutch. Remember that. I nodded, barely steady. Our first stop was a neighbor's home. As we walked in, Mom murmured reminders under her breath, posture, expression, tone. I followed, every step deliberate. The greetings were warm. Compliments followed, about my outfit, my appearance. Curious glances lingered. Each interaction felt like a quiet test I wasn't sure I was passing. As we stepped away, Mom leaned closer. See? Recognition. Acceptance. My chest tightened. The attention was terrifying, and strangely validating. At a nearby cafe, the pressure returned. Order, she said softly. Let her speak. My voice wavered, higher than I expected. My hands shook as I took the cup from the counter. Around us, people smiled, whispered, looked twice. I felt every second of it. And with each moment, Anya felt less like a role, and more like a presence I couldn't deny. Do you sense it? Mom asked quietly. Every look belongs to her now. Every moment of attention. The weight of it made my head spin. Exposure, discomfort, and a quiet rush tangled together until the line between who I had been and who I was becoming felt dangerously thin. We continued through the city, the rhythm of footsteps and traffic surrounding us. Mom reminded me, without raising her voice, to be aware of my posture, the way I moved, the expressions I carried. She's present, she murmured. Each movement belongs to her. Let it. People passed in a blur. Some looked twice. Some whispered. A few didn't hide their curiosity. My face burned, my chest tightened, and despite myself, a flicker of exhilaration surfaced. Mom stayed close, her guidance subtle but constant, a steady pressure that kept me aligned, composed. You notice it, she said softly. How naturally attention finds her. I didn't reply. Part of me recoiled, desperate to escape. Another part, quieter, more vulnerable, felt pulled toward her approval, toward the certainty in her voice. We stopped near a storefront, and suddenly a familiar voice cut through the noise. Sam? I froze. A friend from years ago stared at me, stunned. Panic surged. Words failed me. Mom's hand rested on my shoulder. Calm. Grounding. Stay present, she whispered. The friend stepped closer, smiling in disbelief. Wow. You look incredible. I almost didn't recognize you. Heat rushed to my face of shame, confusion, and an unsettling sense of validation colliding all at once. Mom's expression held quiet satisfaction. See, she said afterward. She's real. And the world responds. The encounter left me unsteady. The person I used to be felt distant, like a photograph from another life. This newer presence, Anya, seemed to grow stronger with every acknowledgement. Later, Mom led me to a quiet bench in a nearby park. The day had been too much, too many eyes, too many moments of recognition. I can't do this, I whispered, tears gathering. I don't know who I am anymore. She knelt beside me, her tone steady. You're not losing anything, she said. Both parts of you exist. One has been hiding. The other is learning to breathe. Her words steadied me. I cried openly, overwhelmed, exposed, shaken by how deeply I had followed her guidance. I understood then how much I'd yielded, and how powerful that surrender felt. Tomorrow, she said softly, we go further. More people. More presence. You'll understand what it truly means to live openly. I wanted to resist. To disappear. But deep inside, a dangerous, curious part of me leaned forward instead. Walking home, the weight of the day pressed down on me, attention, fear, unexpected affirmation. Mom's hand brushed mine. She's awake now, she said. Soon, she won't be ignored. I didn't know if I was ready. But I knew one thing, retreat no longer felt possible. The next challenge came quickly. Polished floors reflected overhead lights as we entered a boutique filled with elegant dresses and mirrored walls. Every step echoed loudly in my ears. This isn't about comparison, Mom said quietly. It's about growth. Every time someone notices her, she becomes clearer. My heart raced. I could barely manage my balance some days, barely speak without hesitation, and yet I followed. The store felt endless, layers of fabric, soft colors, reflective surfaces. Mom guided me gently, offering direction with brief touches and murmured suggestions. Choose what speaks to her, she said. Not who you were. I let my fingers glide over unfamiliar textures, realizing the weight of the moment. Each dress felt like a possibility, a version of myself waiting to be explored. And for the first time, I didn't look away from the mirrors. I settled on a gown the color of pale lavender, light and fluid, shaping a silhouette that felt unfamiliar yet undeniable. In the fitting room, the mirror felt less like glass and more like a reckoning. The fabric brushed against my skin, stirring equal parts dread and anticipation. Mom studied me carefully, then nodded once. That one, she said. She'll be impossible to ignore. Changing into it was only the first trial. She positioned me in front of a full-length mirror and made me rehearse, step after step, pause after pause. Every movement communicates something, she said evenly. Your posture. Your eyes. The way you hold yourself, it all belongs to her. At first, I was clumsy. My balance faltered. My knees trembled, arms unsure where to rest. But she corrected me patiently, quietly. With each adjustment, something shifted. The hesitation softened. The movements slowed, smoothed. What emerged wasn't confidence exactly, but intention. Look, she said, indicating the mirror. That's who people will notice. The reflection held my gaze. Soft hair, careful makeup, the dress falling just right. This wasn't simply me wearing something different. This version felt present, delicate, alert, unmistakably visible. She guided me back outside, into the noise and motion of the street. Step forward, she whispered. This is where she exists. People passed us. Some glanced briefly. Others lingered a second too long. My chest tightened, heat rushing to my face as fear and adrenaline tangled together. Don't turn away, she murmured. Let it happen. I wanted to retreat into myself, but my feet kept moving. I was aware of every breath, every shift of weight. Being seen felt unbearable, and yet I couldn't deny the energy humming beneath it. At a nearby cafe, she told me to order. Clear voice, she said. Slow. Let yourself be heard. My hands shook as I lifted the menu. A few heads turned. The barista smiled politely. Someone whispered to a companion. My heart hammered so hard it felt audible. The embarrassment burned, but beneath it, something else flickered. Something dangerous. Something alive. When we left, the weight of it all crashed down on me. I slipped into a quiet side street, breath hitching. I can't keep doing this, I said, voice breaking. Mom crouched beside me, calm as ever. You already are, she replied. Every moment you stay standing proves it. Her words cut through the panic. Tears spilled freely as my body shook, overloaded by attention, pressure, and the realization that part of me was responding to it. Tomorrow, she said gently, we'll take her somewhere she'll truly be noticed. A real gathering. No anonymity. The thought twisted my stomach. Every instinct screamed to refuse. And yet, quietly, unmistakably, another voice answered. Yes. Walking home, each step felt heavier, more deliberate. The dress swayed in time with my movement. My reflection flickered in shop windows, unfamiliar, luminous, exposed. Mom's hand rested lightly between my shoulders. She'll draw attention, she said. And you'll feel all of it. I didn't know if I was ready. Fear, excitement, shame, and anticipation churned together until I couldn't separate them anymore. But I understood one thing with startling clarity. This wasn't temporary. And she wasn't fading. As laughter and music drifted toward us from a nearby house, my heartbeat thundered. I wasn't just approaching a social event. I was stepping into a place where every look would shape me. And once inside, there would be no hiding. Mom steered me down the street, her palm steady at my back, not forceful, but impossible to ignore. Tonight, she said quietly, she steps into the open. You don't hide anymore. The house ahead glowed like a stage set, windows blazing, voices spilling into the night, laughter drifting over trimmed hedges. My throat tightened as fear, anticipation, and something sharper collided inside me. The moment we crossed the threshold, the noise wrapped around us. Conversations overlapped, glasses clinked, music hummed beneath it all. People stood in loose circles, relaxed and confident, as if this space belonged to them. My heartbeat hammered. Stand tall, Mom murmured. She belongs here. My shoes echoed against the polished floor. Heads turned, some briefly, others longer. I felt the weight of attention settle on my shoulders. I focused on breathing, on keeping my expression calm. Introduce yourself, she said. Say her name. The word caught in my throat. Anya, I said at last, barely above a whisper. It was enough. A few conversations paused. Someone smiled. Someone else nodded politely. Heat rushed to my face as awareness spread through the room. I wasn't invisible anymore. Mom guided me toward a small group nearby. Talk, she instructed. Listen. Let them respond to her. My words stumbled out unevenly. My laugh sounded wrong to my own ears. Every movement felt rehearsed, unnatural. And yet, people answered. They leaned in. They treated Anya as if she had always existed. That realization hit harder than the stares. She's real, Mom said softly. Not the past. Not who you were. Pride and embarrassment tangled painfully in my chest. I didn't know which one frightened me more. Then a voice cut through the noise. Sam? I froze. A familiar face stared at me, recognition dawning too quickly. Panic surged. I opened my mouth to deny it. Mom's hand pressed gently, firmly, against my back. Stay with her, she whispered. The person smiled, uncertain but kind. You look different. I almost didn't recognize you. The words landed like a verdict. Not rejection. Not ridicule. Acceptance. Whatever I had been before felt distant, like something half-remembered. Later, Mom led me toward the edge of the room where people swayed to the music. "Move," she said. "Let yourself exist." My legs trembled. The floor felt unsteady. But she stayed close, guiding without dragging, correcting without raising her voice. Gradually, the stiffness eased. My movements slowed. The noise softened into a blur. I caught glimpses of faces watching, not mocking, not hostile. Curious. Open. When it ended, I retreated to a quiet corner, breath shallow, hands shaking. The attention had drained me. "I don't feel like myself," I whispered. "I don't know where I went." Mom crouched beside me, her expression unreadable but calm. "You're still here," she said. "You're just not hiding anymore." Tears slipped free before I could stop them. Fear, relief, and something dangerously close to pride pressed together in my chest. "You did this," she continued. "You stood. You spoke. You were seen." I knew then how far I'd stepped, how much I'd allowed to change. As we left, the night air felt cooler, heavier. My footsteps sounded different on the pavement, slower, deliberate. "Tomorrow," Mom said, "we take the next step." Someone new. A bigger audience. The thought made my stomach twist. Every instinct screamed to pull away. But beneath the fear, a quiet voice answered first. "Yes." And that frightened me most of all. My image flickered in the darkened glass of store windows as we passed. Each reflection felt unfamiliar, like a version of me that no longer belonged to the past. Mom's hand rested gently between my shoulders, a quiet reminder that I wasn't alone, and that retreat was no longer an option. "She's here now," she murmured. "And soon, everyone will recognize her." Whether I was ready didn't matter. Fear tangled with anticipation, shame brushed against excitement, and all of it churned together until I couldn't tell where one emotion ended and another began. One truth stood firm: I couldn't step back anymore. Inside, the gathering hummed with overlapping voices and soft music. The atmosphere felt warm, welcoming, yet the moment I entered, I sensed attention shifting. A lingering look. A pause in conversation. I felt exposed in a way I never had before. Sam felt distant, almost imaginary. Anya stood in his place, uncertain, visible, and real. Mom guided me through the crowd with subtle pressure at my back. "Tonight," she whispered, "someone new will notice her. Don't look away. Let it happen." My stomach tightened. The idea of being truly seen, evaluated, interpreted, sent a wave of panic through me. And beneath it, something else stirred. Curiosity. Anticipation. Near the edge of the room, a man stepped forward. Calm posture, observant eyes, an easy smile. "Hi," he said. "I'm Arjun." Mom leaned in just enough for me to hear her name. "Anya," I replied quietly. His expression softened, genuine and unforced. "That suits you," he said. "You look incredible." Heat rushed to my face. I didn't know where to put my hands, where to look. Embarrassment rose sharply, but it wasn't alone. Something unfamiliar followed close behind it, a fragile sense of validation that unsettled me more than the stares ever could. Mom watched from nearby, silent but attentive. "See," she said softly. "They respond to her." Arjun led the conversation naturally, asking simple questions, offering small compliments. Each one landed with unexpected weight. Every glance felt intentional. I felt pulled in two directions at once, one part desperate to disappear, the other unwilling to let go of this strange recognition. As the evening unfolded, I noticed more eyes drifting my way. Quiet comments. Smiles. The room seemed to adjust around me, as if Anya had always belonged there. "She exists," Mom whispered when we passed again. "And they feel it." The realization hit hard. This wasn't pretend anymore. The attention wasn't accidental. It was directed at her. Later, Mom guided me into a narrow hallway lined with mirrors. The noise faded behind us. "Look," she said simply. I stared at my reflection. The posture. The expression. The presence. Not a costume. Not a mask. Someone new stared back, and for the first time, she didn't fade when I blinked. "Remember her," Mom said. "This is who they saw." I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because deep inside, I understood something that frightened me more than the attention ever had. Anya wasn't just emerging. She was staying. "This is who you are now." I stared at the person in the mirror, searching for anything familiar. Soft curls framed a face I barely recognized. The dress followed lines that felt borrowed, unreal. The makeup was precise, careful, too careful to be accidental. And yet she looked back at me with steady eyes. Anya. Not a costume. Not a role. Something living. My vision blurred. Emotion rose too fast to name, embarrassment tangled with awe, fear braided with an unfamiliar sense of pride. The boy I used to be felt distant, like a memory from another lifetime. Mom's hand settled on my shoulder, grounding and insistent all at once. "She's yours now," she said quietly. "To understand. To protect. And soon, to let the world see." The attention from earlier, the looks, the kindness, Arjun's open admiration, pressed down on me all at once. It was too much. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. "I don't know if I'm ready." She knelt beside me, calm and unwavering. "You already are. Every step you've taken proves it. Every breath. She's real, and there's nothing wrong with that." Tears slipped free before I could stop them. My body shook as emotion surged through me, vulnerability, relief, fear, and something dangerously close to acceptance. I understood then how deeply I'd changed, how fully I'd stepped into this new shape of myself. "Tomorrow," Mom said gently, "we go further. A bigger gathering. More people. More eyes. You'll learn what it means to be truly seen." I wanted to argue. To retreat. To disappear back into something smaller and safer. But a quiet voice inside me answered first. Yes. The walk home felt unreal. Night air pressed against my skin, the rhythm of my steps echoing on the pavement. The dress moved with me, no longer foreign. Mom's hand rested lightly at my back, a steady presence. "She'll be noticed," she said. "Admired. Measured. And you'll feel every moment of it." I didn't reply. The emotions were too tangled, fear and excitement twisting together until I couldn't separate them. But one thing was undeniable. There was no return. The next evening, the venue glowed with light and sound. Music pulsed softly beneath conversation. Crystal fixtures caught the light, scattering it across polished floors. The moment I entered, attention shifted. I felt it immediately. I wasn't Sam anymore. I was Anya, visible, delicate, exposed. Mom guided me forward. "Tonight," she whispered, "she is tested. Let them see her strength." My pulse raced. Whispers brushed past me like wind. People looked, some briefly, some longer. A few smiled. Others studied. Each glance landed with weight, as if it were shaping me. "She's here," Mom murmured. "And they know it." She led me to a small group. "Introduce yourself." My throat tightened. "I'm Anya," I said. Their responses were warm. Compliments followed, about the dress, my composure, the way I carried myself. One woman touched my arm casually as she laughed, and heat rushed to my face. I didn't pull away. I didn't know why. Across the room, Arjun noticed me again. His expression softened when our eyes met. "You look amazing," he said simply. The words settled deep. Too deep. Mom's hand returned to my back. See how they respond? That's presence. That's confidence. Later, she guided me toward a small raised area where people were casually displaying outfits, chatting, moving through the space. Walk, she said. Let her be seen. My legs trembled, but I stepped forward. Each movement felt amplified. The room watched. I heard murmurs, caught fragments of praise. Fear rose, but so did something else. A fragile sense of belonging. At the edge of the room, a tall mirror reflected me back. Mom leaned close. Look. I did. Anya stood there, nervous, luminous, unmistakably real. Alive. And for the first time, I didn't look away. This is who you are now. I stared into the mirror, taking in the reflection that didn't feel like me, or at least, not the me I had known. Soft curls framed my face, makeup perfectly applied, and the flowing dress clung to curves I was only beginning to recognize. The eyes that met mine weren't Sam's anymore. They were Anya's, fragile, elegant, and impossibly visible. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes. Humiliation, exhilaration, pride, and a forbidden thrill churned in my chest. Mom's fingers brushed lightly through my hair. She exists fully now, she murmured. And soon, the world will see her completely. The evening pressed down around me. Every glance, every whispered word, every subtle assessment collided with Arjun's attentive gaze and Mom's quiet, commanding presence. My chest tightened. I can't. I feel like I'm disappearing, I whispered, voice trembling. Mom knelt beside me, calm yet utterly unyielding. Yes, you can. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She exists. You are her, and she is beautiful. The tears I had been holding back flowed freely. My body shook, a storm of shame, thrill, and unexpected pleasure. And in that moment, I understood how completely I had surrendered, how utterly I had become Anya. Tomorrow, Mom said softly, we go further. You will be tested in ways you cannot yet imagine. I wanted to run, to argue, to vanish. But deep inside, a small, daring voice whispered, yes. Walking home under the night sky, the soft click of my heels against the pavement echoed like a drumbeat. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back, steady, guiding. She will be admired, envied, desired, and perhaps even loved, she said. And you will feel every moment of it. Are you ready to be completely hers? I didn't answer. Fear, thrill, shame, and excitement twisted together inside me. One truth remained crystal clear, there was no turning back. Anya had fully emerged, and soon, the world would witness her. The grand hall shimmered with music, laughter, and golden light. Every movement I made felt magnified. Every glance pierced through my fragile composure. Sam was gone. I was Anya, exposed, elegant, luminous, entirely hers. Mom guided me forward, her hand firm but gentle on my back. Tonight, she whispered, you will be tested as never before. Everyone will see her fully. Every look, every word, every breath, she will endure it, and she will shine. My stomach tightened. Fear, embarrassment, and a subtle, forbidden excitement collided in my chest. I nodded silently. Heels clicking against the polished floor, we stepped inside. The room shifted. Conversations softened. Eyes found me instantly. Mom leaned close. See? She exists. They notice her. Every glance, every whisper, every compliment is hers to claim. I felt my cheeks burn. Murmurs floated across the room. Some faces lingered a second too long. Others studied with polite curiosity. My chest tightened, but a small, dangerous part of me thrived on it. Mom's gaze was sharp, approving. She guided me toward a circle of women I had never met. Talk. Laugh. Respond. Show them she is real. I'm Anya, I whispered, voice trembling. Warm smiles met me. Compliments on my dress, my curls, my presence. Fingers brushed my arm lightly as laughter rippled around me. Heat surged through my chest. Shame and exhilaration intertwined. Mom's eyes flicked between me and the group, sharp and approving. She commands attention effortlessly, she said softly. See how the world responds. She exists. Arjun found me again. His eyes lingered, admiration open and unguarded. You look stunning, he murmured, voice low, deliberate. A heat rushed through me. Humiliation, desire, and thrill tangled together. Part of me wanted to vanish, hide, escape, but another part, the part that was Anya, craved his attention, his recognition. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back. Notice how he sees her. How others respond. That is power. That is beauty. She led me to a small raised platform, where I was expected to move with grace in heels. My legs trembled. My hands shook. Every step was observed, every sway measured. Yet somehow, I began to feel it, the fragile, intoxicating control of being seen fully, undeniably, as Anya. Careful now, she murmured. Slow steps. Let your hips follow. Smile. My legs trembled, heels wobbling beneath me as if they might give out at any second. Yet I kept moving. As I did, I felt it, the weight of the room settling onto my skin. Eyes followed me. Voices softened. Compliments drifted through the air like static. The exposure was crushing. I felt stripped bare by attention alone. And still, beneath the panic, something else stirred. A quiet, forbidden spark. I wasn't just walking. I was being watched. Measured. Interpreted. I was both spectacle and participant, admired, vulnerable, undeniably visible. Later, Mom guided me down a quiet hallway and stopped before a tall mirror. Look, she whispered. Really look. I did. Soft curls framed my face. Makeup caught the light just right. The dress flowed naturally over a body I was still learning to recognize. The reflection staring back at me wasn't a disguise. She wasn't pretending. Anya stood there, alive, present, unmistakable. The boy I used to be felt distant, like a memory that no longer fit. Tears blurred my vision. Shame rose first, then pride, then something deeper and harder to name. I understood, with a sudden ache, how completely I had given in to the process, to her guidance, to this version of myself. She's yours now, Mom said softly. And soon, everyone else will know her too. The night pressed in on me. The attention. Arjun's lingering admiration. The unbroken thread of Mom's control. It became too much. I can't, I whispered. I feel like I'm fading away. She knelt in front of me, calm and steady, her voice unwavering. You aren't fading. You're becoming. Every look, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She's real. You are her, and she is beautiful. My composure shattered. Tears spilled freely as my body shook, caught between humiliation and exhilaration, fear and an unsettling sense of fulfillment. I finally understood how deep it went. How fully Anya had taken shape. Tomorrow, Mom said gently, we go further. You'll be seen, publicly, emotionally, completely. Are you ready? I wanted to say no. To run. To disappear. But somewhere deep inside, a quiet, dangerous voice answered for me. Yes. The walk home felt heavier than before. Heels tapped against the pavement. The dress moved with every step. My reflection flickered in darkened shop windows, mirroring my inner conflict. Mom's hand rested at my back. She'll be admired, she said. Envied. Maybe even loved. And you'll feel all of it. Are you ready to belong to her completely? I didn't reply. Fear and anticipation churned together. But one truth remained undeniable: there was no path backward. Anya had arrived. And the world would soon meet her. The hall glowed with light and motion, conversation humming through crystal and color. Each step I took felt loud, deliberate, impossible to hide. Sam no longer existed here. Only Anya, visible, delicate, luminous, and undeniably hers. As we entered, heads turned. Voices dipped. Curiosity rippled outward. Mom leaned close. You see? They feel her. Every glance is a recognition. Compliments followed, on my dress, my poise, the way I carried myself. Some smiles were polite. Others lingered. Every look landed with weight. I felt exposed, fragile, and intensely aware of myself. Mom's eyes gleamed. Every reaction confirms her. Let it settle. She guided me toward a mixed group nearby. Engage, she said softly. Let them know she's real. My voice trembled as I spoke. I'm Anya. And the room answered. They admired everything: my dress, the way my hair fell over my shoulders, the careful shimmer of makeup on my skin. Some laughed easily when I spoke. Others brushed my arm in passing, brief touches that sent heat rushing to my face. The attention was dizzying. Praise mixed with vulnerability until I couldn't separate pride from embarrassment. I felt it all at once: exposed, validated, undone. Mom watched closely, her eyes moving between me and the people around us. See, she murmured. She doesn't try. They respond because she's real. Then Arjun appeared beside me, close enough that I felt his presence before I heard his voice. You look incredible, he said quietly, his gaze steady and unguarded. My chest tightened. Shame, excitement, and a dangerous pull tangled together. Part of me wanted to disappear into the floor. Another part leaned toward him without permission. Mom's hand settled on my shoulder, light but deliberate. Notice, she whispered. This is what presence feels like. This is her power. She guided me forward into the brightest part of the hall, where the light caught every movement. Walk, she said. Let them see her. My legs trembled. The heels felt unstable, my balance uncertain. Fear hummed under my skin as I stepped forward. But as I moved, the room responded. Heads turned. Conversations softened. Compliments drifted through the air like sparks. The exposure was overwhelming and intoxicating. I understood then how deeply Anya had taken root. How completely she occupied the space where I stood. At the center of the room, a tall mirror reflected me back. Look, Mom whispered. That's her. I stared. Soft curls framed my face. The dress moved naturally with my body. My expression, open, fragile, unmistakably present, wasn't something I recognized as Sam's. Those eyes belonged to Anya. Emotion surged without warning. Tears blurred my vision as humiliation, pride, and an unfamiliar sense of pleasure collided inside me. Mom's fingers brushed gently through my hair. She's yours now, she said. And soon, everyone will know her. The night pressed in on me, the stares, the admiration, Arjun's attention, Mom's steady control. It became too much. I can't, I whispered. I feel like I'm disappearing. She knelt in front of me, calm and unyielding. You aren't disappearing. You're becoming. Every look, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She exists, and she's beautiful. I broke. Tears spilled freely as my body shook, caught between vulnerability and a thrill I could no longer deny. I understood, finally, how complete my surrender had been. Tomorrow, Mom said softly, we go further. You'll be seen, emotionally, socially, fully. Are you ready? I wanted to say no. To run. To hide. But deep inside, a quiet, reckless voice answered instead, yes. The walk home felt unreal. My heels echoed against the pavement, the dress swaying with each step. Shop windows reflected fragments of me, pieces of Anya following along beside us. Mom's hand rested lightly at my back. "She'll be admired," she said. "Envied. Desired. Maybe even loved. And you'll feel every moment of it." I didn't respond. Fear and anticipation churned together in my chest. But one truth was undeniable. There was no return to who I had been. Anya had arrived, and the world was already watching. I was Anya, exposed, fragile, visible in a way I had never been before. Mom's hand rested lightly between my shoulders as she guided me into the grand hall, her presence steady and unyielding. Her eyes scanned the room with practiced awareness. "Tonight," she said quietly, "you will be seen more clearly than ever. Every look, every whisper, you will face it all." My stomach tightened. The thought of standing under so much attention made my chest feel constricted. Fear and embarrassment rose together, tangled with a strange spark of resolve I didn't fully understand. As we stepped inside, conversations faltered. Heads turned. The air shifted. "See?" Mom murmured. "She's real." They notice. People's gazes moved over me, some polite, some curious, some lingering longer than I expected. Compliments floated through the room, soft but unmistakable. Each one felt like a test. Each glance pressed against my composure. I felt unsteady, stripped of comfort, yet undeniably present. Mom guided me toward a larger group and leaned close. "Speak. Respond. Let them meet her." I'm Anya," I said, my voice barely steady. They smiled. They commented on my dress, my hair, the way I carried myself. Laughter followed when I spoke. A hand brushed my arm in passing, casual and unthinking, but it sent heat rushing to my face all the same. Mom watched carefully. "Notice," she said. "You don't have to force anything. They respond because she exists." Arjun appeared nearby, his expression open and sincere. "You look amazing," he said simply. The words landed harder than I expected. Embarrassment surged, followed by something unfamiliar, confidence, maybe. Or acceptance. Mom's hand settled at my shoulder again. "This is presence," she whispered. "This is what it means to be seen." She led me toward the center of the room, where the light was brightest. "Stand tall," she said. "Move naturally." My legs trembled as I stepped forward. Every movement felt amplified. I was acutely aware of myself, my posture, my breathing, the weight of attention resting on me. A tall mirror reflected me back from across the hall. "Look," Mom said softly. "That's her." I stared. The person in the glass wasn't who I remembered being. The curls, the calm expression, the way the dress moved with my body, it all felt distant and immediate at the same time. Tears blurred my vision. The boy I had been felt far away, like a memory fading at the edges. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. "I feel like I'm losing myself." Mom knelt beside me, her voice calm but certain. "You're not losing yourself. You're learning who you are when you stop hiding. Every look you faced tonight proves it." Tears spilled freely then. My body shook, not from excitement, but from the sheer weight of exposure and realization. Anya wasn't a costume anymore. She was standing there, uncertain, vulnerable, and undeniably real. I was Anya now, visible, delicate, and entirely exposed. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back as she guided me through the grand hall. Her gaze swept over the crowd like a commander surveying her forces. "Tonight," she whispered, "you will face them fully. Every look, every word, every thought belongs to her, and she will endure it." A cold shiver ran through me. Fear, embarrassment, and an unspoken thrill collided in my chest. As we stepped into the room, dozens of eyes found me. Conversations stuttered and paused. Whispers rippled through the crowd. See? Mom murmured. She exists. Every gaze is hers. People's attention pressed on me from all directions. Some smiled politely, others lingered, curiosity and admiration written across their faces. Each glance felt amplified, each whisper a judgment. I felt fragile and exposed, yet undeniably present. Mom's eyes gleamed. Every reaction, every heartbeat, this proves she is real. Own it. She led me to a circle of unfamiliar faces, socialites, professionals, and influential figures I had never met. Speak, move, smile. Show them she is real, Mom instructed. I'm Anya, I whispered, my voice trembling. Compliments came quickly, subtle touches of encouragement, laughter at my words. My cheeks burned, my stomach twisted. Admiration and scrutiny danced together, overwhelming and intoxicating. Arjun appeared again, his gaze steady and observant. You look amazing, he said quietly. Heat rushed to my chest. Fear, embarrassment, and a strange exhilaration tangled together. A part of me wanted to shrink away, but another part, the part that had emerged as Anya, drank in the acknowledgement. Mom's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, grounding me. See how they notice her? That is presence. That is strength. Mom guided me to a raised platform at the center of the room. A soft spotlight illuminated me, and the crowd's murmurs hushed slightly. Walk, she instructed. Glide, smile, sway. Let them see her fully. My legs trembled. Heels wobbled beneath me. Every movement felt magnified. Every gaze burned into me. Mom circled, whispering corrections and guidance, smoothing my dress, adjusting my posture. Her control was firm, precise, unwavering. Every look, every word, every sigh belongs to her, she murmured. And you will feel it all. A tall mirror reflected me back from the corner of the room. Look, Mom whispered. See her. Feel her. She exists. She is alive, graceful, and capable. This is who you are now. I stared at my reflection. Curls framed my face perfectly, makeup flawless, dress flowing along curves I barely recognized. The eyes staring back weren't Sam's anymore, they were Anya's. Vulnerable, poised, visible. Tears pricked my eyes. Humiliation, pride, fear, and exhilaration collided inside me. I can't. I feel like I'm losing myself, I whispered, voice trembling. Mom knelt beside me, calm yet commanding. Yes, you can. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She exists. You are her, and she is remarkable. Tears streamed freely. My body trembled with the weight of exposure and revelation. I realized how deeply I had surrendered, how fully I had become Anya, not a disguise, not a mask, but a presence that the world could now recognize. Tomorrow, Mom said softly, we go further. The final test awaits. Are you ready to be fully seen? I wanted to flee, to argue, to vanish. But deep inside, a small, resolute part of me whispered, yes, I am ready. Walking home beneath the night sky, heels clicking softly against the pavement, dress swaying with every step, the weight of the evening settled in my chest. Reflections shimmered in shop windows, echoing my inner transformation. Anya was fully visible, undeniably present, and utterly real. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back. She will be admired. She will be remembered. And you will feel every moment of it. I didn't answer. Fear, thrill, shame, and anticipation swirled inside me. One certainty remained, there was no turning back. Anya had emerged fully, and the world would see her completely. The morning sun would illuminate the next chapter, casting soft light across a path I had no choice but to follow. My reflection shimmered in the mirror. Anya, delicate, exposed, unmistakably present. Sam felt like a distant memory, a shadow of the person I had been. Today, that new identity would be tested. Mom's hands moved over my curls, steady and precise. "This is it," she whispered. Every gaze, every word, every moment, they all belong to her. She must endure it, and she will shine. My stomach twisted. Anxiety, anticipation, and a strange exhilaration coursed through me. I nodded, heels clicking softly as I took my first tentative steps into the enormous venue. Reporters, socialites, and influential figures filled the room. Every motion felt magnified. Every eye a probe into my very being. "Remember," Mom murmured, "every glance, every word, every gesture, they are hers. She must absorb it and remain unshakable." The crowd reacted instantly. Murmurs, whispers, even faint exclamations of curiosity followed me. My chest tightened. Every glance felt like a judgment, every whisper a test. Mom's eyes met mine, unwavering. "She exists. She is alive. She is yours," she said softly, guiding me to the center of the stage. "Walk," she instructed. "Sway. Smile. Be her. Show them who she is." My legs trembled. Heels wobbled beneath me. Every movement was scrutinized, every gesture amplified. Compliments and silent observations alike pressed down on me. I was visible, exposed, and undeniably present. Mom's hands adjusted my posture, smoothed my dress, and brushed a stray curl. "She is yours," she murmured. "Completely." Her control was absolute, subtle, and unyielding, a delicate balance of guidance and command. Arjun appeared at the edge of the stage, his eyes fixed on me. "You look incredible," he said quietly. Heat flooded my chest. Fear, pride, and an unexpected thrill tangled together. A part of me wanted to vanish, to retreat, but another part, the Anya within me, drank in the recognition. Mom's hand pressed lightly to my shoulder. "See how they notice her? That is presence. That is power. She is hers fully." She guided me under the bright spotlight at the center of the stage. "Show them everything," she whispered. "Every movement, every glance, every breath, let them see her entirely." My body shook. Every step felt magnified, every sway of my dress an eternity. A tall mirror at the back reflected both the audience and myself. "Look at her," Mom murmured. "See who she has become. Feel her. She exists. Delicate. Visible. Strong. Entirely herself." I stared at my reflection. The curls framed a face that was no longer Sam's. Makeup highlighted features I barely recognized. The dress traced curves I had never known, yet somehow felt like they belonged to me. Anya stared back, vulnerable, elegant, fully alive. And for the first time, I understood just how completely I had become her. Tears pricked my eyes. The room, the crowd, the pressure, it all surged into me at once. Humiliation, awe, and an unexpected pride mingled in a storm of emotion. I was Anya, fully realized, and entirely hers. A storm of emotions raged inside me, humiliation, exhilaration, and an impossible, intoxicating thrill. I felt the full weight of how completely I had surrendered, how entirely I had become Anya. Every gaze, every whisper, every approving glance from those around me pressed in on my chest. Male attention, peer admiration, Mom's quiet yet absolute dominance, it all collided, unbearable and electrifying. I can't," I whispered, voice trembling, feeling like I was vanishing. Mom knelt beside me, calm, unwavering, commanding. "Yes, you can. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She exists. You are her. She is beautiful." Tears streamed freely, hot and sudden, while my body shook with humiliation, thrill, and a strange, powerful pleasure. I realized the depth of my surrender, the full measure of my transformation. "Tomorrow," Mom said softly, "you will face the world completely. You will decide if she remains fully yours." Are you ready? I wanted to run, to hide, to refuse. And yet, a small, daring part of me whispered back, dangerous and certain, yes. I am ready. Walking home beneath the city lights, the soft click of my heels echoed my heartbeat. The dress swayed with every step, and reflections shimmered in the store windows, mirrors of my inner turmoil. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back. She will be admired, envied, desired, maybe even loved. And you will feel every second of it. Are you ready to be hers completely? The streets were quiet, but inside me, a tempest raged. Every breath trembled with anticipation, every heartbeat drummed with fear and exhilaration. I was no longer Sam. I was Anya, visible, delicate, fully alive, and standing at the edge of a choice that would define everything. Mom's hand smoothed my hair gently. Her eyes, calm and piercing, locked onto mine. Tonight, she whispered, you decide. Will you embrace her fully, surrender completely, or try to reclaim what was lost? My throat tightened, legs trembling beneath me. Heels clicked softly against the polished floor as I approached the mirror. My reflection stared back, demanding acknowledgement. The grand room was ready for one final test, a crowd of friends, strangers, and admirers gathered, eyes on me, waiting to witness Anya in her entirety. Mom guided me to the center, spotlight illuminating every curve, every detail of the dress, the hair, the posture. Walk, she instructed. Every step, every glance, every breath, show them her. Let them see her essence. I moved, every eye a weight on my chest, every whisper amplified like a drumbeat in my ears. Shame, thrill, and beauty collided, forcing me to confront the reality of who I had become. Arjun stepped closer, his eyes wide, admiration unmasked. Anya, you're breathtaking, he whispered. Heat surged in my chest. Humiliation, desire, and excitement tangled inside me, sharp and intoxicating. A part of me longed to shrink, disappear, but another, darker part, thrived on the attention, the recognition, the undeniable validation. Mom's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. See how he sees her? That is power. That is presence. She is yours fully. I understood, finally, the cost and the reward of what I had become. I could command attention, charm, and even love, but the boy I once was had already faded. A tall mirror reflected me entirely. Curls perfectly framed my face, makeup highlighting delicate features. The dress hugged my new curves flawlessly. Look at her, Mom whispered. This is who she is. She exists. She is delicate, beautiful, alive. And she is yours. Tears pricked my eyes. The girl looking back was not Sam. She was Anya, vulnerable, elegant, undeniable. Each heartbeat, each glance, each whispered compliment reinforced the truth, I had surrendered fully. The past felt distant, fragile, and fleeting. And I was hers. The intensity of the evening had reached its zenith, public attention, Mom's commanding presence, and male admiration all converging into a storm I could barely endure. I can't, I whispered, voice trembling, a lump in my throat. Mom knelt beside me, calm, commanding, her gaze steady. Yes, you can, she murmured. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat proves it. She exists. You are her, and she is beautiful. Tears spilled down my cheeks, hot and unrelenting. My body quaked with a mix of humiliation, thrill, and a forbidden, heady pleasure. In that moment, I understood fully, I was no longer Sam. I was Anya. Every last fragment of my old self had yielded, leaving her shining in full, fragile, undeniable beauty. Mom's expression softened, almost tender. Now, she said, voice low and commanding, the choice is yours. You may cling to what you were, or embrace her completely. I glanced around the room. Every whisper, every glance, every lingering smile affirmed the truth, Anya was real. Alive. Admired. My chest ached faintly for the boy I had been, a shadow of nostalgia fluttering at the edges of my heart. And yet, beneath that ache, a rush surged, exhilaration, recognition, and the intoxicating knowledge of being seen, desired, and delicate. I swallowed hard, drew in a trembling breath, and nodded. I choose her, I whispered. I accept Anya. Mom's smile broke across her face, victorious yet gentle. Then she is yours, fully. Welcome to your new life. As I moved through the crowd, each glance and compliment stitched a new identity across my chest. Every whispered admiration strengthened me, rooting me more deeply in Anya's skin. Arjun appeared at my side, extending his hand. You're incredible, he murmured. My heart thundered as I took it. I was no longer Sam. I was beautiful, desired, and fully, undeniably Anya. From across the room, Mom watched, satisfaction radiating in her gaze. Her guidance, her subtle cruelty, and unwavering control had forged me anew, a girl who could navigate the world with elegance, fragility, and undeniable strength. Later, in the quiet sanctuary of my room, I confronted the mirror. Anya's reflection smiled softly back at me. A pang of longing for Sam lingered, bittersweet and delicate, but it no longer tethered me. Beside it stood power, beauty, and a sense of self I had never truly known. Goodbye, Sam, I whispered, a tear trailing down my cheek. Hello, Anya. The transformation was absolute. The boy I had been was a memory, fading with every heartbeat. The girl I had become, vulnerable, radiant, and wholly hers, was ready. Ready to move through the world, to be seen, to command attention, and to walk her path with pride, elegance, and the unshakable certainty of Anya.